All right. I would like to make a motion to exit executive session.
Second.
Second from Councilmember Thompson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we're out of executive session at 7:03. With that, make a motion to close the work session. Second from Councilmember Pilarski. All in favor? All right, work session is officially closed. With that, we're going to enter the regular meeting. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. And Councilmember Thompson, if you can lead us.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, moment of silence for our veterans. And for the invocation, we have Reverend Rick Maisano.
Before I pray, I don't know if anybody was at the parade on the 4th, but it was beautiful seeing all the people there lined up on Harlem Road or throwing candy to the kids and that. That's what community is, watching all the kids and we had all types of people, young, old, and babies. And that was wonderful. And you people, you're the ones who represent us. So let's ask the Lord to give you wise wisdom today. Father, as we stand here today, Lord, we want to thank you, Father, for our elected officials. We ask, Father God, that you would give them wisdom, help, and strength. But Father God, that they would make the right decisions, Father, that'd be good for the residents here in Cheektowaga. We pray, Father, for our nation. We ask, Lord God, your blessing upon our president, Father, Congress, the Senate, all our police officers, our fire departments, Father, first responders, that keep us safe. We ask, Father God, your continued blessing upon this nation, Lord, for we ask it in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. You may be seated. Clerk, may I have a roll call?
Councilmember Barbara Kowski, here. Councilmember Michael Jazinski is absent today. Councilmember Gerald Kaminsky.
Present.
Councilmember Brian Larson.
Present.
Councilmember Vernon Thompson.
Here.
Supervisor Brian Miller.
Present.
We have 5 present.
All right. With that, before we move on to any other business, I want to take a moment to share a proclamation with Mr. David Hoke. If you can approach the podium, please. For those of you that don't know, actually, Councilman, you're familiar with Boys and Girls Club. Do you want to steal my thunder?
I'll go after. You want to do your thing?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, I've had the honor and privilege of knowing Mr. Hoke here for many years, both as a youth going through the Boys and Girls Clubs in Buffalo, where Buffalo and Depew Lancaster Boys and Girls Clubs had shared events, and then even in the profession, running the Seneca Babcock Community Association. Mr. Hoke has many remarkable accomplishments and has provided an invaluable service to our youth and their families through the Depew Lancaster Boys and Girls Club. His commitment to empowering young minds and creating a positive impact in the lives of our youth has been admirable. Throughout many years of his service, Mr. Hoke has diligently made it his mission to provide a safe and supportive environment where children and teenagers can experience personal and academic growth. The programs provided under Mr. Hoke's leadership have consistently promoted leadership, character development, and academic success. And he was instrumental in bringing the Boys and Girls Club here to Cheektowaga. On behalf of the town board and myself, we wish you the best for your retirement and the next chapters of your life.
I appreciate that. I figured you would have, you can phrase that much better than I could with your experience with the organization, but I would invite the council members to approach along with me. All right.
Congratulations.
Might be a little redundant here, but it says whereas the town supervisor of Cheektowaga, along with the Cheektowaga Town Board, pays the highest possible tribute to David Hoke upon his retirement as executive director of the Depew Lancaster Boys and Girls Club. Whereas David Hoke's career at the Boys and Girls Club spanned nearly 50 years, first working as an entry-level role at the Buffalo Club before going to the Depew Lancaster Boys and Girls Club and working his way to executive director. Whereas David Hoke has consistently prioritized keeping kids active in a positive way with programs in education, character, leadership, arts, sports, and fitness. Whereas David Hoke is known as a caring, compassionate, and committed educator who has made a difference in the lives of thousands of children and parents and the future generations to come. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Cheektowaga thanks David Hope for his lifetime service on behalf of the youth and residents, the Depew Lancaster community, and wishes him the very best in his retirement. Thank you and congratulations to you.
Thank you. Oh, it's been a long time. I really enjoyed what I did. A few people here I know for years. Did our best to make a difference in a lot of kids' lives. I came from a club myself in Buffalo, by the Chevy plant, the Town Boys Club. And that's where I had a lot of good mentors, and I tried to pattern my life after them a little bit. They were great guys. They helped us a lot, and they were committed. And the only thing I got to say is that we're happy that we started 3 years ago, the Cheektowaga branch of the Boys and Girls Club, and the commitment for the building and everything we got from the town of Cheektowaga. And I think we could, a lot of the people that started are gone in that, and I think we're going to need a little more commitment in the future, if that's at all possible. Unfortunately, because we're Depew Lancaster, Cheektowaga, we're the Depew Club. Probably half our members are from Cheektowaga, the other side of transit, off of Borden Road, the woods, all those. So in the future, if we can get a little more financial help, I'm gone, but the guy that's taken my place is going to need some help through the town, if that's at all possible. And it's money well spent. We are serving a population that is underserved right now in the town of Cheektowaga. That's it. And I thank you a lot. I've been a resident for about 49 since 1978. I moved from Buffalo, so very proud to be a resident of Cheektowaga. Thank you.
Thank you again. Next order of business this evening is our public comment period. This is an opportunity for residents to comment on items appearing on the agenda of the town board meeting tonight. The public comment period should last 15 minutes maximum. Each speaker may speak only once. Each speaker shall be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes speaking time. All right, first up this evening is Stephen Nowicki.
Hello there. I'm here tonight to talk about Resolution 401 of the Sanitation Department. I believe keeping them in-house is the most sensible option. There is no sense in eliminating in-house workers just to go and hire a for-profit company in its place. You'll be going from running a service at cost to a community to now having to pay profit to an outside service accomplishing the same task. At a minimum, that is fiscally irresponsible. Earlier this year, I asked another member of this room their thoughts on removing the sanitation workers from the town and what the rationale was. What I was given was, when I was younger, I had a job like that taken away from me, so they'll be fine and they'll bounce back. That utter callousness of because an older generation faced the hardship is not something that we should be bringing forward. We should be making workers of the newer generations doing better than what we had before. We built up this community to be able to afford them that privilege. We should pass this resolution. Anything else would be fiscally or morally irresponsible. Just a few meetings ago, I recall members from both sides of the aisle complimenting our town workers and how hard they work. I hope I can see that again tonight through the resolution passing. Thank you.
Next speaker on the list is Sandy Fritzland.
Never realized how short I am until I come up here. Sandy Prisblag, 132 Roland in the Village of Slum. 2024-375, which was tabled. I think let's bring it from the table and get it passed. We're out of compliance. It's just a formality. to have a medical director to oversee the use of our defibrillators. So that's something that I think should be a no-brainer. The bonding for the highway equipment, which is 2024-398. I wasn't able to attend the work session, but I did just walk past the trucks lined up in front of the building. I support replacing those vehicles. I listened to Mark describe the state we're in with our vehicles and that we can't get replacement parts and they're having to go to junkyards to harvest parts just to keep them on the road. That's a big concern. And I also think a 15-year plan is a good idea, like Councilmember Pekarsky also supported that in the work session, I heard. I think that's also a good idea, but yeah, we need to get that equipment. Since it'll be 2 years since we actually see it, let's get that done tonight. And the last one I wanted to speak on was the 2024-401, the support for the sanitation district. I live in the village of Sloan, and we do have privatized garbage. I have questioned for years now why we couldn't consolidate with Cheektowaga and have the Cheektowaga Sanitation Department employees. I know it's a different government entity, and there's a lot more to it than I really understand, to be quite honest. But we do have the private. They are, Waste Management is the company. They are, some days your garbage doesn't get picked up and then you have to call. You get an answering machine when you call. I assume when I call the town, I wouldn't get an answering machine to explain why my garbage wasn't picked up. At least I would hope so. And I do agree, we need to keep, I'd like to see folks that live in Cheektowaga have these jobs. People need jobs, and if they want to do this for a living and get paid by the town of Cheektowaga, which I believe they reside in, if I'm not mistaken, then I think that's a good thing. So I'm opposed to privatization. Thank you.
Okay, next speaker this evening is Gary Borick.
I think you should look into privatization of the garbage collection. Not necessarily that you do, but I think you should look into it. In fact, I think you should ask the comptroller for the state to do another study. Let me read to you from articles that appeared in the Buffalo Evening News in 1998, more than 25 years ago, written by the editorial board of the Buffalo Evening News and their staff reporters. Garbage collection in Cheektowaga has become an expensive municipal joke. This is their words. And the joke is on the town taxpayers. When those taxpayers compare the cost of their high-priced garbage with the cost of similar work in other Buffalo area towns, they smell an odor that's not coming from their garbage. This is the Buffalo editorial board. The town of Cheektowaga at that time spends $1 million more on recycling and garbage collection than its neighbor Amherst, which has 20,000 more people and 3,100 more garbage stops. Town officials should put garbage service out to bid for private companies. That's coming from the Buffalo editorial board. In January of 1998, the state comptroller completed a study that concluded that the town of Cheektowaga could save $1.6 million per year by private sanitation collection. Now, this is my comment. Let's do the math. 1.6 million, 25 years, $40 million. How many of those trucks would that have paid for? $40 million if they had followed the recommendation of the state comptroller back in 1998. And according to the state comptroller's report, those savings would occur even though sanitation and recycling workers would be transferred to other departments. Not one sanitation worker would lose their job. They'd still be town employees. I think you should go back to the state comptroller and say, hey, could you update that study for us so we can make an informed decision instead of an emotional one? That's what you should do. Go back and ask the state comptroller to update that report. Then put a resolution on it. I sent you emails on Go Bike, and many of the issues I raised, I think, were answered by the presentation by Go Bike earlier. However, I do want to mention one thing. That apron, when you come down the sidewalk from the bridge, that apron is not wide enough to make that turn onto what would be the crosswalk. That apron has to be extended. It's just asphalt, so it shouldn't be expensive to do. Second, there should be a crosswalk there and the town should pay for it. It should be permanent. The bollards and the painting, maybe do that experimental, but that crosswalk should have been there a long time ago. And that should be something the town puts in and we should maintain it permanently. The other issue on the Go Bike is the trail study. I fully support that with one exception. Their plan is to put a bridge in across the creek. I don't have an objection to it. I know some of my neighbors do, and you hear from them hopefully. But the problem I see with it is maintenance. The new bridge that we put in a couple of years ago, the boards are cupping. Go over there tomorrow after our hurricane rainstorm comes through. There will be puddles, actual puddles on that bridge from the cupping of the wood because it hasn't been maintained. That wood needs
That's
to be.
3 minutes, Mr. Bork.
All right, that
I'll
would
make
need
a
to be.
motion to give Mr. Bork 30
I'll
extra
second.
seconds.
That wood needs to be steeped and stained. I don't know if it needs to be done annually, but often enough so that you try to prevent that cupping, because now you're gonna have to replace some of those boards. All right, thank you.
Last speaker is Mr. Kenny Young.
I just have a comment, related to what Gary Moore just said about the regional pedestrian trail network expansion. Why are we spending money on a bridge when we don't do preventive maintenance on existing bridges? Where would the money come from to fix or repair? We had that bridge back in, I think it was 2019. You closed the bridge, all right? The bridge was totally shut down because it was in need of repair, instant repair. We don't do proper maintenance on bridges. Why are we putting bridges up to only let them go to crap? It makes no sense. If you don't have the funds to continue to maintain these bridges, even the bridge that you just fixed is starting to deteriorate. So why are we putting more bridges up and not being able to maintain them? It makes no sense. So please rethink this.
Thank you. And with that, that is the end of our public comment period. We're moving on to public hearings. We have 2 on the agenda this evening. The first is pertaining to local law intro 2024-7, a local law to amend the zoning law of the town of Cheektowaga. If there's anybody signed up. We have no speakers signed up for this public hearing this evening. One last time, is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak regarding this public hearing? Oh, all right. All right, I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing. Councilmember Kaminsky is a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is officially open. Let's start that again. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak regarding tonight's public hearing? There are none signed up regarding the local law 2024-7. Seeing none, I'm going to make a motion to close the public hearing. Okay, I have a second? Second from Councilmember Bukowski. All in favor? All right. Any opposed? Public hearing is closed. And our second public hearing this evening is 600 Thruway Plaza special use permit. I'd like to make a motion to open that public hearing. Is there a second from Councilmember Thompson? All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is open. This evening, we have nobody signed up regarding this special use permit. Let me explain briefly and then we'll have you come up. So 600 Thruway Plaza is the Burger King right near Harlem Road, Walden Avenue in the Thruway Plaza. Basically, they're looking to upgrade the exterior, the facade, that kind of deal. And part of their project is a special use permit to change up the drive-through, create a dual lane in a portion of the drive-through from right ahead of their speaker towards the end of the line. If you'd like to.
I just wanted to know what part of the Thruway Plaza it was at.
Okay, did that address your question? Mr. Young, did you want to add anything else regarding this?
No, I think you summarized most of it. It is a single lane drive-through that would be expanded to a 2-lane drive-through. Part of the conditions with the special use permit is any deviations from what are requirements with the drive-through as far as design standards. They be alleviated via the town board instead of the zoning board. So with the special use permit tonight, you will see that the required car reduction count of 16 is reduced to 14. And is being asked, part of this, expansion to a 2-lane drive-through. As well as the lane width does narrow as it approaches the window from 12 feet, into 10 feet. But the general pattern of circulation, is a similar configuration to what is existing on site at this time.
Okay,
And we do have, project representation here to see if any additional information is needed at this time.
would you like to hear from the developer more on this project, council members?
Sure.
All right, we do have a council member that would like to hear from him, so if you can approach. Thank you.
And the individual that's representing the project tonight is Bob Blood of GPI Design.
Good evening. Bob Blood representing Carroll's LLC out of Syracuse, New York, franchisee of Burger King and 600 Thruway Drive.
Did you want to speak any further on some of the
I mean,
details of the projects, or council members, do you have any questions?
Not specific, I thought you asked if you wanted to just
Yeah.
go in more detail about it, or
There's nothing more I can add. It's a renovation of the exterior facade to comply with current image standards from Burger King Corporation, along with modified access to the drive-through lane, which would include a canopy over the pickup window, which would also serve mobile orders, which is the reason for the narrowing of that lane, keeping the existing pavement width to
I do have one question. In terms of timeline, when do you expect the project to be complete?
before the end of the year.
Okay, then.
I actually have one question. Not sure if it's applicable or not, but since they will be renovating, the outside, will they be adding any green space or anything like that to make it a little bit more?
We do have a net gain in green space and an extensive landscape island that's going to, one of the ideas behind the double drive-through access was to not have the entrance to the drive-through lanes along the main aisle across the front entrance of the store. There's another drive aisle further to the south. And so the barrier access from the main drive aisle, there's an extension of a landscape peninsula that had a tremendous amount of green space and trees at the site.
Anything else? All right, thank you, Bob. With that. Dave?
This special use permit, is it last for 1 year or is it forever?
It's approved, it would be approved and it would last until recent.
I think in the Pew, they have to renew it like every year. I thought anyways. I'm just curious what.
Yeah. Dan, can you speak to it in our specific case?
Sure. The instance of drive-throughs, my understanding it is for the life of the drive-through until an alteration or increase in demand, change of use were to take place. There are instances, depending on the municipality, where a special use permit may have provisions applied to it for term limits. But in this instance, I don't believe we have one for a drive-through, not that I've come across. And Mr. Fowler, if you have anything different from that at this time?
I don't.
Okay.
All right, then. With that, I'm going to make a motion to close this public hearing. Do I have a second? Second from Councilmember Kaminsky. All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is coming to close. And with that, we move on to our consent agenda announcement. Consent agenda is contained in this meeting. The consent agenda is designed to assist making the meeting shorter and more efficient. Items left on the consent agenda may not be discussed when the consent agenda comes before the town board. If any council member wishes to discuss a consent agenda item, please tell me now and I will remove the item from the consent agenda and it will be added as a separate resolution item. I do have 4 to begin. There are resolutions 2024-388 through 391, numbers 5 through 8 on the consent agenda. I'd like those removed. Any others from council members?
Yes.
Okay.
2024-401, 2024-402, and 2024-398.
So that's 398, 401, and 402. Okay. Are there any others?
Which ones did you say again? I'm sorry, Mr.
401, 402, and 398.
398. What about supervisor?
5, 6, 7, and 8.
Yes. So far we have 388, 389, 390, 391, 398, 401, 402.
Of those was the tabling of the bonding for the trucks?
That has been pulled. That is number
It's pulled, right?
401,
Yeah, all right. So just double check.
right? Madam Clerk, do you have all of those? 37 in total? Okay. If there are no other resolutions to be removed from the consent agenda, I'll make a motion to,
Approve the meeting agenda.
approve the meeting agenda.
Do I have a second on that?
I'll take it.
Councilmember Pilarski, all in favor?
Aye. Any
Do I
opposed?
have a motion or a second to move any or all of the resolutions from the table?
I'll make a motion to remove items 2024-312 and 2024-375 from the table.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Councilmember Pilarski, all in favor?
Aye.
We're going to start with resolution 2024-312. It's sponsored by Supervisor Noack, seconded by Councilmember Pilarski. Town board desires to retain a company to provide lobbying services on behalf of the town to obtain state funding for various projects and/or legislation to benefit the town. Masiello, Martucci and Associates have submitted a proposal to the town to provide such representation at a cost of $3,500 per month for 12 months for a period beginning June 1st, 2024 and ending May 31st, 2025.
Will we amend it to be
Wonderful.
July 1
Yeah.
to June 30th?
Yeah, I wanted to start with a friendly amendment on this to change the dates to, in the second whereas, as you were alluding to, Councilman, to July 10th, 2024 to July 9th, 2025. I'll make a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor for the amendment?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, opposed? Oh, good. All right, amendment carries unanimously.
And a vote on the amended resolution.
All in favor of the amended resolution?
Aye.
Any opposed? Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote?
Councilmember Bukowski?
No.
Councilmember Kaminsky?
Yes.
Councilmember Pilarski?
Yes.
Councilmember Thompson?
No.
Supervisor Noah?
Yes.
Motion is not carried. Moving on to resolution 2024-375. It is sponsored by Supervisor Noack, seconded by Councilmember Bukowski. As per resolution 2023-673, the town of Cheektowaga purchased 45 automated external defibrillators. On December 12, 2023, resolution 2023-678, we included 25 additional AEDs. Agencies providing pre-hospital emergency medical care are required by the New York State Department of Health Bureau of Emergency Medical Services to contract with a licensed physician, medical director. The Catholic Health System is willing and able to furnish qualified professionals to provide such services for a charge of $250 per year for bronze level service.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
That is the end of our items from the table. We are going to move on to our resolution items. We are starting with resolution 2024-388, sponsored by Supervisor Noack, seconded by Councilmember Pankowski. Applicant and owner of Carwell Products has filed project submittals for review and under parcel address 3438. Owner and operator of site has taken action to remediate the impact identified and has satisfied the engineering department. Therefore, the approving local body and acting lead agency, the Town Board of Chickawaga, declares a negative declaration.
All right.
Are we going to pull it?
Yes, on the question, I would, at the work session, there was discussion on this item and the three subsequent, 389, 390, and 391. I believe we'd have to address pulling them separately, correct?
Correct.
I'd like to make in speaking with Councilmember Bukowski at the work session, I'd like for us to pull this item from the agenda.
Resolution 2024-389, sponsored by Supervisor Noack, seconded by Councilmember Bukowski. Applicant and owner of Carwell Products has filed project submittals for review under parcel 3438. The approving local body, Town Board of Chickawaga, grants the zoning district amendment for district change.
This item, I'd also like it pulled from the agenda.
Resolution 2024-390, sponsored by Supervisor Noack, seconded by Councilmember Bukowski. Applicant and owner of Carwell Products has filed project submittals for review for parcel address 3438 as approving local body. The Town Board of Chickawaga hereby grants approval of the site plan.
All right, I'd like this item pulled as well.
Resolution 2024-391, sponsored by Supervisor Noack, seconded by Councilmember Bukowski. Applicant and owner of Carwell Products has filed project submittals for review for address 3438. The approving local body, the Town Board of Chickawaga, New York, grants a special use permit.
And I'd like this item pulled.
Thank you. We are now looking at resolution 2024-398. It is sponsored by Supervisor Noack, seconded by Councilmember Pilarski. Bond resolution of the Town of Chickawaga, New York, adopted July 9, 2024, authorizing the issuance of bonds in a principal amount not to exceed $2,750,000 to finance the acquisition of heavy highway equipment, stating the estimated maximum cost thereof is $2,750,000 and appropriating said amount for such purpose.
Right.
Table this one.
Yeah, it just was to say, in discussing this at the work session, we have documentation regarding the trucks. We had an opportunity to take a look at 5 of the highway dumps outside. And there's an email that came through regarding the fleet and information related to potential replacements. There's a lot to digest. So if you're making a proper motion to table,
Yeah,
I will
make a
second
motion
it.
to table it.
So.
Yep.
Okay.
So I have a table from Councilmember Pilarski, second by Supervisor Noack. Motion is tabled. Resolution 2024-401, sponsored by Supervisor Noack, seconded by Councilmember Kaminsky. Town of Chickawaga solid waste collection is carried out by a publicly run and managed sanitation department. Private garbage companies have consolidated over recent years, with competitors merging and acquiring competitors, significantly reducing the amount of garbage collection competitors to only a few companies. This town board is reaffirming its commitment to maintaining the Chickawaga Consolidated Garbage District.
All right, on the question, I'll speak very briefly on this. For me, part of what's behind this is budgetary and making sure that in the years to come, that we know the direction we're gonna go. There have been calls in the past and calls recently regarding privatization or bidding out. And if that's a direction that the board wants to go, that would inform the decision of what we do with the vehicles in the department and the equipment and the employees in the future. If it is not, that gives us a sense of budget planning in regards of what to do in the months and the years to come with the department. And the rest of any other comments or sentiments I have are in the resolution. Any other council members like to comment on the item? Councilmember Kaminsky and then Councilmember.
Yeah, and I guess this kind of takes me down memory lane when I worked in the city of New York during the garbage strike. You have never in your life smelled anything, seen anything so ugly, it's impossible to describe it. And I'll tell you furthermore, we went to the garbage truck in 2012. It was the 17th of November. Prior to that, we were paying Covanta in the fall of $51 and change per ton, and we delivered it all the way to the falls. By the time we got done, even Covanta dropped their price to under $40 because they knew we had them. They had everybody tied up for 25. We had a 25-year contract with Covanta, believe it or not, back then. God only knows who had signed it. And it's like I said, I've heard enough stories. Well, you know, so we privatize it. Somebody goes on strike. Well, the town can pick it up with who and what. We won't have any trucks anymore. We won't have the manpower anymore. It's like walking the tightrope at night. It's like I said, I've heard costing in the town of Chickamauga over $9 million to pick up the garbage, which I don't believe. It's absolutely insane. And then we're going to go by somebody's opinion from 30 years ago, which makes no sense to me. 30 years ago, gas was under 50 cents a gallon. I just think it's a bad way to go, and you never know what you lost until it's gone to you.
All right, Councilmember Thompson?
I just am a little confused as to where this resolution came from, or the purpose of it. I mean, I support this, but I'm not sure the reasoning of this resolution, but I mean, as someone mentioned earlier about, you know, cost savings when it comes to this department. I mean, I've been very vocal about cost savings across the board as a whole, and, you know, there's waste in a lot of places. I mean, once we get to that budget time of the year, I'm sure there's gonna be a lot more discussion of that, but I support our sanitation department. I think they do a great job. As far as cost savings, that's a conversation, you know, to where you can save to make sure it's beneficial to continue that direction. But I do support our sanitation workers and think they do a fantastic job. That's it. I have no reason to go in a different direction with them at this time.
Thank you,
Or
Councilmember.
anytime going forward.
Anybody else?
I think it is definitely an area it doesn't hurt to look into, and we should, you know, get our facts and get solid numbers. I mean, we have numbers from that are almost as old as me. And then it's just not solid figures right now. So I think it's something to look into. So for this coming budget, I think this is the route to go and say, hey, look, we're committed to it, to the town of Chickamauga sanitation. And then just weigh our options after that. There's a lot of homework to be done on this.
All right, Councilmember Bukowski, anything to
I
share?
just wanted to piggyback off what Councilman Thompson said. I was a little surprised at this resolution myself. But it is what it is. But I am totally in support of our sanitation department. They do an awesome job. And it's not a job everybody wants to do, I'll tell you that, especially in this summer and this heat. So kudos to everybody in sanitation, and I am in support of that.
Thank you. With that, I'd like, all in favor of the resolution?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, carries.
Resolution 2024-402, sponsored by Supervisor Noah, seconded by Councilmember Bukowski. Hudson Ross LLP has been asked by AC Powers represented with regard to the solar energy project application and related development plans for land located at 777 Indian Road in the town of Chickamauga. Town hereby acknowledges and authorizes Hodgson and Ross LLP representation of AC Power in connection with the new matter, and hereby further agrees to waive any conflict of Hodgson and Ross LLP as a result of the representation.
All right, on the question? All in favor? Any opposed? We have one opposed. Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote?
Councilmember Bukowski?
Yes.
Councilmember Kaminsky?
Yes.
Councilmember Pilarski?
Yes.
Councilmember Thompson?
No.
Supervisor Noah?
Yes.
Motion is carried. And we need to go back to our consent agenda. I have a motion by Supervisor Noah, a second by Councilmember Kaminsky to approve all items on the consent agenda, including the meeting minutes of June 26, 2024, and resolution items 2024-384 through 415. We are recognizing that 388, 89, 90, 91, 98, 401, and 402 will hold. I need a roll call vote to approve all the other items. Councilmember Bukowski?
Yes.
Councilmember Kaminsky?
Yes.
Councilmember Pilarski?
Yes.
Councilmember Thompson?
Yes.
And Supervisor Noah?
Yes.
All items are approved. I need a motion and a second to waive the rules to include resolution items 2024-416 through 420. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Looking at resolution 2024-416, sponsored by Councilmember Kaminsky, seconded by Supervisor Noah. Bailey Dembski is hereby returned to her position as labor in the Highway Department, effective July 1st, 2024.
On the question? All in favor?
Just have a question.
Oh, yeah, sorry, on the question, Councilmember Thompson.
I'm not sure who created this resolution, but if there could be some more information or where he or she is coming from, why they're going here or why they're being moved, I just think that would be good to be transparent for us making a decision on behalf of this individual. So I don't know if anybody can speak on that, the highway.
He's in the highway department now.
This is a matter of,
Yeah.
Crystal, would you like to speak to it?
Certainly.
Sure.
So this is a personnel matter that we will keep confident that we're not going to display here for the public to see. If you guys want to discuss this afterwards, I'd be more than happy to share with you why we're at this point. I just think it's prudent not to discuss personnel matters of this nature in the public. And that's why this resolution is written somewhat vague. It's procedural admin resolution, just so administratively we can go back to business the way it was. But there's a reason for that, and we need to keep that private.
Is it possible to just be apprised of that information at least before?
Sure,
I don't believe I saw anything unless I missed it.
sure. We can talk with personnel to make sure that they share that. Obviously, Mr. Horstman's not here to speak on that, but we can share that with, the representatives from personnel to make sure they express that to the board members as to why these procedural resolutions are going through.
I would
Sure,
hate to vote moving somebody
Sure.
if I don't know about it.
exactly. Yep, sure.
I think.
Good, yeah.
This is
This is the case where, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
This is the case where the individual,
Without
is,
getting it, sorry, to interrupt, without going too many details, like,
So there's a resolution passed at a previous meeting that promoted this individual. We need to rescind that resolution and put this individual back in her previous position. Okay, so, and that's what this resolution does. And there's a subsequent resolution to go on to the next individual to get in that position. Okay, so these are procedural resolutions. Again, I'd be more than happy to share that with you afterwards as to what's what.
is this something that needs to be done immediately, or is this?
No, again, it's twofold. So number one, these are admin administration resolutions. What I mean by that is the highway superintendent, in this case, Ricky Ruzniak, has the ability to do these things, okay, as an elected official. Okay, so these are, even though you guys are the voting body, you guys don't have technically the say as to what the elected official does. Okay, so these are admin resolutions for human resources, for payroll, for that nature. So these individuals within the highway department are taken care of as far as their time, their pay, all this stuff. So these are more transparent resolutions for the public. But again, the highway superintendent, as a standing elected official, has a say as to who to goes where based on contractual limits with the units we have over there.
To add to that, regarding the highway department specifically, that these resolutions usually memorialize seniority or set dates for purposes of the retirement system, and for any of the benefits that our workers, that our full-time workers get under CBAs. So it's an event of, with or without the resolution, the employees in the highway department in particular would end up where they're ending up in terms of hiring and firing. We're just memorializing that activity.
Exactly.
Looking for a little more information. I know there've been some issues with employees with his management, things like that, so I want to make sure we're not just.
Yeah, this
bumping
is
somebody out of
not
the
a
way.
disciplinary issue whatsoever. This is, based on contractual obligations that were met. Okay, so this has nothing to do with disciplinary, if that makes sense, okay?
Awesome. Thank you.
Sure.
All right. Anybody else on the question? All right, all in favor? All right. Any opposed? Carries.
Motion is carried. Resolution 2024-417, sponsored by Councilmember Thompson, seconded by Councilmember Kaminsky. Joseph Dabrowski of Chickawaga, New York, being and hereby is appointed to the position of maintenance worker in the sewer maintenance department in accordance with the terms and conditions of the town's collective bargaining agreement with the Town of Chickawaga Employees Association, effective July 15th, 2024.
On the question? I just want to add that with this position, we will be eliminating a second position. So we're essentially, with this promotion comes the elimination of the spot. We're going to really realize some cost savings overall as a result of all this. I'm glad to see it up here again, and thank you to the sponsors. Anybody else? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries.
Resolution 2024-418 is sponsored by Councilmember Kaminsky, seconded by Supervisor Noah. Joseph Crystal of Chickawaga, New York, being and hereby is appointed to the temporary position of motor equipment operator B in the Highway Department in accordance with the terms and conditions of the town's collective bargaining agreement, effective July 1st, 2024, pending the outcome of a DOT physical.
All right, on the question, just again, this resolution memorializes Highway Department hiring and firing by setting a date and for purposes of seniority benefits, things like that, just recognizing activity that's already taken place by an independent elected official. Anybody else? All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2024-419 is sponsored by Councilmember Kaminsky, seconded by Supervisor Noah. Following individual being and hereby is hired as an IT records management clerk part-time, Matthew O'Neill, and in our facilities department, Richard Hicks.
All right, on the question? All in favor? Any opposed? Carries.
Resolution 2024-420 is sponsored by Supervisor Noah, seconded by Councilmember Thompson. Chickawaga Information Technology Department, in keeping in line with best practices, replaces end-of-life equipment and is in need of purchasing computers and related equipment for the Assessor's Office, Community Development Office, and Tax Office. Town Board hereby authorizes the Director of Information Technology to purchase the required equipment to update Town Hall ground floor technology for $16,640.04.
All right, on the question, I want to thank Councilmember Thompson for seconding the item and helping us get this onto the agenda. Any council members have comments? All right, all in favor? Any opposed? It carries.
That's the end of our resolution items tonight. The town clerk's office received meeting minutes of the Board of Ethics from June 17th, 2024, meeting minutes from Traffic Safety Commission of June 18th, 2024, and the meeting minutes from the Environmental Advisory Committee, June 26th, 2024. General communications include one summons and complaint and one notice of comment.
All right, supervisor's comments. A little bit of what I've been doing in the last couple weeks. Just today, we had a mediation session between the TCEA and Town of Chickawaga Management. I was a better part of my afternoon being there. And last week, we had our Freedom Fest Festival in Cheektowaga Town Park. The crowd there is growing compared to the previous 2 years, and with COVID, a lot of these events were shut down, and it's taken some time to rebuild interest, get people to come out. So it was great to see the crowd there growing, especially close to fireworks time, the number of people that were in the park. Looking forward to those and watching those. And I'm excited to see that be bigger and better next year. There was some work to put together the 4th of July parade. I want to thank Julie Kritzman in the council office, Councilmember Pilarski, Councilmember Thompson for his role, and everybody else that helped make that 4th of July parade, and our town staff in our Parks Department and others that helped make July 3rd and July 4th events such a big success. That's all I've got. Anybody else? Councilmember Pilarski, you're up.
Kind of piggybacking on that, kicked off the summer strong with a couple great events. Summer is packed with events over at Town Park. Every Sunday, there's a youth and rec concert or show going on. On Tuesdays, there's senior concerts right across the parking lot here at the senior center. On Thursdays, I want to say is Depew and Sloan. And in August, with more information to come, August 29th will be a Veterans Resource Fair. And then we also have Polish Festival, German Festival, so a lot happening at Cheektowaga Town Park. You check social media, the town's website, stuff like that for all those dates and times.
Any other council members? Oh, yeah, Councilmember Pitesco.
Okay, it's July and 7 months now in this new seat, new role that I have. And I'm getting to slowly learning more of the ropes, if you will, and meeting everybody in the departments and the function. So first off, just want to thank everybody that works here in the town. Everybody has a role and everybody's doing an awesome job. And I just want to thank everybody for all their hard work to make our town function. I just also want to piggyback again. It is July and the 26th, 27th, 28th is the Polish Festival at Cheektowaga Town Park. And also, again, recap, in August is our big Veterans Resource Fair. That's going to be Thursday, the 29th. And that's it.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Thompson.
Just to make a mention from the 3rd and 4th of July, just want to thank our first responders, police, Parks Department, all volunteers, town workers that had a part in putting it together and making a successful event. Councilmember Pilarski and I spoke about what we can do better next year to always make sure it's improving. So I would love to see a little bit more participation and action, after the parade and even the 3rd. I think it's something I would personally love to see. I know a lot of residents in town would also. So thank you for everything that you guys did to make that successful. Lastly, just to piggyback on the resolutions that I just spoke of with the movement of individuals in certain departments, the elephant in the room, I know Mark is there. I don't know if that's a relative or not that was appointed to that position. That's something that certainly is a factor in this to me, not having information. I think that's important to have. And I'm all for, getting my brother or, friend, a position, you do a great job. That's on you to prove it. I just think us as council members voting and on these decisions, even if it's not our decision, we're still voting on it. So I think it's very important for everybody listening and department heads to make sure that we have that information so we can make an informed decision, because that's the most important facet of what I'm saying right now. So I'm sure most can agree with that, but there's always gonna be somebody that disagrees. I'm not opposed to it. I just want to be involved and privy to the information that we're making a decision on. So that's all I have to say.
All right. And with that, I'm going to move on to public comment. Okay. We have 4 signed up this evening. Our first speaker is Stanley Clyburn.
I haven't been here in a while.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How's everybody doing? I appreciate you giving me an opportunity to speak to you. As again, I'm up here regarding that Join those Voting Rights Act. Okay. Now, from my understanding, that Join those Voting Rights Act is a part of New York State Constitution. Is that correct? You don't have to answer me now, but I think I'm kind of like in line with that. And if so, what I want to find out, because you guys talk pretty, you say a lot of good things, but your actions sometimes have me thinking a little different. Why are you spending money to fight that? Why are you spending money to fight something that's in the Constitution of the state of New York? Why is the town of Cheektowaga spending money to fight? You don't have to answer that. You don't want to. You want?
I don't know if I'm allowed to respond to that.
Can anyone tell me? I don't think so. Thank you.
Gary Bork.
Comments I heard tonight from the board remind me of the Simpsons episode. Homer looks through the town telescope and sees a meteor coming right for the town. He goes and tells the town board. The response, let's destroy the telescope. Yeah, that comptroller's determination 25 years ago was 25 years old, but it identified what turned out to be a $40 million mistake for this town. Let's not make an $80 million one by saying, well, we don't know the facts, and we don't get blamed for making a mistake. You want to find the facts besides the comptroller? Go ask the town of Amherst. They've got 26 years experience with private. Find out how they did with it. Ask them what the problems are. See if somebody from the town of Amherst would come over and say, you know what, we did it, and we're thinking of changing now, maybe it wasn't so good. I lived in the town of Amherst for 18 years after that went into effect. It was fine. And I don't have any problem with sanitation services that we're getting. Works out well, but that doesn't mean it can't be done for less without firing one employee so that taxpayers benefit and employees don't suffer. The Federal Voting Rights Act is 60 years old. I think I know now why some people don't respect it.
Ken Young.
Read to you an editorial from Buffalo News. It says the arrival of a Black woman on the Kenmore Village Board does indeed mark a turning point, though one with an asterisk. Brittany Jones was appointed by the village mayor. A better test of the municipality's appetite for diversity on the village board will come in November's election. Still, changes come the way it comes. And in a region where many public boards have never included a person of color, this one is welcome. As the principal law clerk to Justice Jeanette Condon of the State Appellate Division's 4th Department, the 34-year-old Jones seems eminently well qualified to serve effectively on the village board. Mayor Patrick Main has made a wise choice. The question is, what about other municipalities? Outside of the Buffalo Common Council and the Erie County Legislature, public boards are largely dominated by white faces. They may not be too surprising in rural parts of the region where people of color may be few and far between. But what about places like Amherst, Wheelersville, or Cheektowaga, where town board composition has become a legal flashpoint? The Cheektowaga Town Board is made up of the town supervisor and 6 council members, all of whom are white and elected at large. That approach to elections has historically been a strategy to keep people of color from winning government seats in majority white municipalities. Whatever the reason, Cheektowaga is organized that way. The result is predictable. No people of color serve on the town board. Maybe. Town leaders did nothing to ease concerns over its intentions by deciding to submit the questions of implementing award system to voters. Should the town include some district seats, as other municipalities do, in order to ensure a prominent role for people of color? The answer is obviously yes. But will an electorate that, for whatever reasons, routinely chooses white representatives endorse a system meant to change that? It's certainly possible. When asked to consider that specific issue, a majority of residents may well understand the value. The problem is that it's unnecessary. As a town resident myself, observed and suing the town over the issue, the John R. Lewis Voting Rights Act of New York protects voting equality. And as experts hired by the town found, there is evidence of racially polarized voting in recent elections. Even though the majority of residents who spoke at hearings organized by those experts were in support of creating a award system of government. So why be timid? Why are there a number of options the town can consider, even keeping in mind the value of maintaining at least some members who are elected at large and whose role is to serve the board of interest of town, as opposed to focusing on a particular district or ward. In the case of town governments.
I'll make a motion to give Ken Young an extra 90 seconds.
Second.
All right,
Thank you. In the case of town governments, including Cheektowaga, the supervisor serves that purpose. Still, if Cheektowaga is prominent in the news today, it is hardly alone. The inclusions of a minority voice didn't occur in Kenmore until the mayor made a smart appointment. Amherst, Wheelerville, and other Erie County municipalities remain frozen in a classified past, one that can't help but make some portion of their population feel less connected. All municipalities should review their government structures to evaluate their fairness and usefulness. To exclude voices from official rules, either purposely or unintentionally, is self-defeating. Thank you very much.
thank you. Our last speaker this evening, Reverend Rick.
This is to all you on the board. Maybe you would know what's going on. Over on Union Road, Delta Sonic has been closed since the storm of 2022. It's getting really ugly looking over there. Does anybody know anything of what they're gonna do? Are they gonna rebuild it? You know, knock it down? Because when you got cars coming off the thruway, coming in, one of the first things they see is that boarded up Sonic. So I was wondering you guys know anything about that?
I can get you an answer offline. I want to make sure what I have is current.
Okay.
So,
Okay, and thank you for, at least we see some movement over on Harlem Road with, hopefully knocking down that old, nursing home. Yeah. Thank you.
with that, I'm going to make a motion to close tonight's town board meeting. A motion, second from Councilman Kaminsky. All in favor? Any opposed?